So this Easter, while a lot of us are unwrapping chocolate, there's a whole other food tradition out there, one that is just packed with centuries of history and meaning. It's a really powerful story, but it's not told with words. It's told with bread, eggs, and, believe it or not, horseradish. When I say Easter food, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably this, right? Chocolate bunnies, jelly beans, maybe a big glazed ham for dinner. The colorful, sugary feast we all know and love. But that is only part of the story. But for millions of people, especially those with Polish or Eastern European roots, the deepest taste of Easter, well, it looks completely different. It's all found in a basket just like this one, something that's been carefully put together and taken to church to be blessed. It's a tradition that makes a connection between the past and the present in a way you can actually touch and taste. So, what is actually in this basket? And maybe more importantly, why is it there? Well, as we're about to find out, every single item is like a chapter in a much, much bigger story. So let's unpack it together. Okay, first things first, we need to understand what this tradition really is and where it comes from. Because, spoiler alert, it is so much more than just a holiday meal. So this practice is called święconka. That's pronounced something like święconka in Poland. Or you might hear it called the blessing of the Paschka basket in other Eastern European cultures. But no matter what you call it, the core idea is exactly the same. It's a basket of symbolic foods blessed on Holy Saturday to officially and very joyfully mark the end of the long fast of Lent. And to really get why this basket is such a big deal, you first have to understand what came right before it, the fast. Now, the key thing to understand here is just how serious the historical fast was. I mean, we're not just talking about giving up social media or chocolate for a few weeks. Back in the day, Lent meant a super strict abstinence from all animal products. No meat, no eggs, no butter, no milk. So can you imagine? Bringing this food to be blessed wasn't just a symbol. It was this incredibly profound act of thanksgiving. It was a real, tangible shift from the hardship of the fast to the absolute joy of the Easter feast. And right at the very heart of that joyful feast, there's one item that stands above all the others, the bread. And that's the thing. The bread in this basket is never just, a simple loaf of bread. It's a special, enriched bread. It's known as babka in Poland or paska in Ukraine, and it's made for this specific moment and is absolutely loaded with meaning. This is where it gets really deep. The ingredients themselves, all those rich eggs, butter, and sugar, were forbidden during Lent. So using them now, it represents the richness of salvation. The shape is symbolic too. It's often round, for Christ's crown of thorns, or it's braided to represent the Holy Trinity. And you'll often see it decorated with a cross made of dough, or the letters XB, which stand for Christus Voskres. That's Christ is risen. Ultimately, all of the symbolism points right back to a central statement from Jesus in the Christian faith. I am the bread of life. So this Pascha or babka becomes a direct, edible reminder of that core belief. Okay, so the bread is definitely the centerpiece, but it is not alone in that basket. The story just keeps building with every single item you add. First up, of course, you've got eggs. They're often beautifully decorated, called pasanki. Think about it. Just like a chick breaks free from its shell, the egg is this powerful, ancient symbol of new life. And here, it directly mirrors Christ breaking free from the tomb, the resurrection. You'll also almost always find a lamb in the basket. But here's a really neat detail. It's usually not meat. It's typically molded out of butter or sugar, and it represents Christ as the Lamb of God, a direct reference to his sacrifice. Okay, now this is fascinating. Horseradish is put in the basket to represent the bitterness and suffering of the Passion of Christ. But it's often mixed with sweet grated beets. And that combination symbolizes that the bitterness of suffering has been overcome by the sweetness of the resurrection. It's such a profound idea captured in a simple condiment. Then there's salt. It's in there partly for its preserving qualities, but it's also a direct reminder to the faithful of their calling to be the salt of the earth, to add flavor and preservation to the world around them. And finally, after weeks and weeks of fasting, you get to the meats, like ham or sausage. These are pretty straightforward symbols of pure joy, of celebration, and of abundance. They're basically a delicious sign that the time for penance is over and the feasting can really, truly begin. So we've got all our symbolic foods. Now, how does it all come together in one single sacred moment?
The ritual itself is just beautifully structured. On Holy Saturday, the basket gets meticulously prepared. It's lined with white lace to symbolize Christ's burial shroud and decorated with greenery. Then all those symbolic foods we just talked about are placed inside. The family takes it to church, where a priest blesses all the baskets with holy water. But here's the absolute key. This blessed food then becomes the very first meal eaten on Easter Sunday morning. It's what breaks the long fast.
So, you see, this is so much more than just breakfast. It's a shared experience, right? It's a lesson in faith passed down through generations. It's a story of suffering and hope and triumphant joy, all told through the food that they share on a single plate. This whole tradition is just such a powerful example of food telling a very specific story. And it kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? Whether it's a big holiday feast or just a simple weeknight dinner, how do our own meals tell our stories? What traditions and meanings are we sharing on our plates?